Okay, we are live. Hi, everyone. Welcome to our webinar. My name is Paris. I'm the CEO at Hop Online, and joining me is Anna. She's our content marketing manager here. And we have a great topic to discuss with you all today, and that is about doing more with limited content resources, content optimization. So we will probably, I think, maybe give it another few seconds to let some people join. I see people now joining the webinar, but we'll give them another minute or so before we kick this off. And in the meantime, I will queue up my presentation here. Okay. Here we go. All right. Okay, well, let's get started. So content marketing, doing more with less. So this is really about how to keep growing your traffic when content resources are more scarce than ever. So let's start with just a few, some introductions and some housekeeping rules. Anna's our Chief Content Strategist and Head of Content Marketing here.
Nice to meet you.
And I'm the CEO. Most of this presentation will be given by Anna. And the format here is pretty straightforward. We have a chat window where you all are free to drop any comments to us, and we'll be able to see those as we go. Questions, this is the most important. Please ask questions as they come up throughout our presentation, and we will leave time at the end to answer those questions, and hopefully we can get to them all. Our goal is to finish within 1 hour. Polls, we have one poll that we've posted about content optimization, so please check out that poll and cast your vote. And Q&A is really just going to be at the end of the webinar. So let's dive into it. The webinar is intended to help a few different types of marketers, but the common theme here is content marketing. You might be a B2B SaaS marketer who is now managing tighter budgets, but you still have very high ROI goals that you have to hit. You might be more broadly a digital marketer working through teams across other marketing teams in your organization, maybe dealing with some budget cuts, and still also under pressure to maintain stable organic search traffic growth. You could be a content marketer or content creator trying to reprioritize your tasks now and still trying to keep growing and boosting those organic conversions and the organic traffic. And really any digital marketing professional, I believe, at some point is interacting with and touching content marketing. And this could be a great opportunity for you all to sharpen your skills. So today's agenda is, first of all, I will present what I see as a big challenge now facing content marketers, especially over the last few months. We have a very detailed 3-part solution to optimizing your existing content. And Anna will walk us through each of those solutions. And then, most importantly, we're going to tell you how to practically get started and what you should do first. And that should take us to probably about 30, 40 minutes, and then we'll leave as much time as possible for Q&A at the end. Okay, content marketing, as you all know, is an ongoing process. It never stops, it never sleeps, it never ends. And when it never ends is when it works best. It's an ongoing story. It's the chance for you to tell a constantly evolving story of your company, of your brand, of your customers. And it's also a story that needs to be updated on a frequent basis. You can't stop and take a break. And sometimes it's very, very tempting, and sometimes you're perhaps exhausted or out of ideas. But the risk with content marketing is that if you do take a break, you set yourself back a lot more than you might realize at the time. There's fierce competition. Most of you are probably dealing with competitors who are creating new content on a constant basis, at least weekly, sometimes daily. And you know if you slow down, somebody will catch up. And Google is constantly updating the search results with what it feels is the most relevant content in that moment for that query. So even if you have had a lot of success in the past, that is no guarantee for future success unless you just keep putting out great content on a frequent, consistent basis. When you stop publishing, either because of lack of resources or because maybe priorities have shifted, we all know what happens. And this is some statistics from one of our clients who unfortunately was in that situation. They slowed down, they took their eye off of content marketing, and sure enough, their organic traffic started to drift downward. And this drift is not a very fast and easy course correction, even if and when they do resume content marketing, because momentum really matters here. Content marketing done well builds a certain momentum. And when you interrupt that momentum, even slowing down starts to reverse that momentum in another direction. And course correcting is not a matter of just switching things back on and expecting traffic to jump back up to prior levels, but it takes time to build back up. And when you do stop, especially for a prolonged period, it's not pretty. You can expect to lose organic traffic, like that decay we saw in the last slide. That is a result of losing rankings and visibility in search results. Your competitors, if they keep going, will start to take more share of those search result rankings and more share of that traffic. So your carefully built online presence will quickly start unwinding. And it doesn't only affect your organic search traffic, because if you are running paid campaigns, maybe Google PPC campaigns, maybe paid social campaigns, you are relying on the assist value of that organic traffic to also fuel and help your other channels, your other paid channels. So when your organic traffic suffers, you're also putting more strain on your paid channels like PPC and paid social, which means that less traffic usually means less conversions, unless you're figuring out a way to optimize and improve your conversion rate. But for the most part, declining traffic means declining conversions and a loss of potential customers. So there is definitely a chain reaction that gets set in motion when you do start slowing down with content marketing and start to see that erosion of traffic. We've seen this months or sometimes even years of steady progress can unravel very quickly. And it's not that easy to get back once it starts unraveling. There was a great quote that I saw recently on an interview with Michael Phelps, probably the most successful Olympian of all time. And he said that when he was training at his peak, and he was training multiple times a day, he said that one day that he missed in the pool would set back his training by 2 days. So imagine that. One day off would set you back in your training by 2 days. And this rang true for me because I think the same is true to an extent for content marketing. If you decide to take a break, you're setting yourself back by a longer period of time than the period of that break. It might not necessarily be a 1-to-2 ratio like in swimming, but there is still a longer setback than you realize at the time. But unfortunately, we really know that a lot of you out there are short of resources right now. And a lot of the first budgets that have been cut in marketing have been content marketing budgets because it's labor intensive, it can be cost intensive, and it's natural that in a lot of cases when you do need to cut back, content marketing is one of the first areas of digital marketing that gets scrutinized. But you still need to keep going for the reasons that I've pointed out. You have to find new ways to get more creative with the existing content that you have, to get more out of it, to try to keep that momentum moving in the right direction. So we are going to show you how you can make this work, how you can turn lemons into lemonade, so to speak, doing more with what you've already got. A lot of you have a lot of great content already published on your website. You've been doing content marketing really well with a lot of great discipline and frequency over the years. And there's great stuff there that you can optimize and get more out of. So that's the point of today's webinar. It's all about the content that you already have. So we would like you all now to focus now on everything that's currently published. And we want to show you the potential that you have with that content. So with that, I'm now going to turn it over to Anna.
Thanks, Ferris. If there was one thing that I can advise you to do, if you look into your current content, it would be to think about searcher intent. To me, this is probably the best area that you should focus resources on right now. And take a look at your existing content and see if it actually matches the searcher intent. Just to freshen up your memory, that's Ahrefs' definition. Search intent is basically the real desire, the informational need of the person when they're typing a query, a question, or a phrase in the search bar. Why are they doing that? What do they expect to see and to find? There are tons of information out there about how to identify intent, especially when you do keyword research. You're probably familiar with those. People asking questions most likely are just looking for information. They're not looking for a product. They're not ready to buy. They're just looking for information. So these are the informational intent modifiers. And then a little bit down the user journey, the so-called commercial investigation intent. This is kind of people that have weak commercial intent. They're considering maybe looking for a product. These are some of the modifiers best to compare. This is the search intent. They're considering their options. Still not ready to buy, but getting there. Transactional intent are the people that you usually want to target on your landing pages, the people that are there with their credit card in their hand, ready to buy. Transactional intent is usually, it's the lowest hanging fruit, is the absolutely necessary area for your content, as well as for your paid marketing campaigns. And then navigational, these are people who are looking for either information on the where in the website or actual local information. These are all the different types of intent modifiers, but I want to take a look kind of back and help you figure out how Google is actually answering this intent, how it's interpreting this intent. So basically, if you Google a query, looking at the SERP results, at the search engine results page, they are Google's attempt to best match the intent. So they can give you a lot of useful information, not only about the intent, but more about how Google interprets it. So you can take the best out of this information and apply it to your own content. That's one way to look at the search engine result page. If you can imagine how on a desktop, how the search engine result page would look. You can see the top level of the result page, which is where you see usually search featured snippets or knowledge bags or answer boxes. These are all the kind of informational queries being resolved there. Then you can also have, like, if you have a product listing, that would be transactional intent listed there. The local pack that sometimes Google displays on the side, the local knowledge panel, obviously local intent. So if you just take a look at the search engine result page, you can map the type of content and the type of queries it's satisfying. And that would be also very useful for aligning your own content with it. On mobile and voice search, things are a little different with search intent, mostly because people generally, when they search on their phone using their mobile device, usually voice search, they tend to use kind of longer, more descriptive, very specific phrases. They, on one side, help you identify the intent better because they're full sentences or full questions. A lot of them are questions, like how to find, where can I find, what's the best. And a lot of them are also locational, like near me searches are very obviously typical for mobile and voice search. So all of this information, again, consider your existing content, and if you're thinking about optimizing for mobile search, you can actually adapt it to fit better such searches. For example, the queries are longer, and if you can match them in your content directly, answer people's questions directly, keep the tone casual and conversational, all of this would help you optimize your content for mobile and voice search. And a bit more about what exactly to get from the SERP. Take a look at the organic search results. This is your competitive landscape. If this is the SERP you want to rank for, see where you need to be. What's the sectioning people also ask? What questions do people have related to your query? What are the related searches? What is the featured snippet type? Is it, for example, a video? If so, can you modify your content into video content to match the SERP feature? For the whole list of first page results, take a look at the actual content types and formats. It often happens that we have a great performing page, but the SERP for that main keyword is actually a listicle. And the great page is just not performing well on the SERP. It's performing well in terms of traffic, let's say, but it's actually not taking the best advantage of the SERP because it's not formatted as a listicle. So that's a simple fix you can always do. Take a look into the search intent. Are the pages ranking on the first page of Google? Landing pages, for example, instead of blog articles. These are things we often find when we do research for clients, is the content type actually needs to be aligned. And another great thing that SERP can give you is literally a read through the first page results. That can give you a very, very comprehensive idea of what the common denominators are, meaning the common topics all these pages address, as well as the side angles that you may not have considered before. So this gives you like the comprehensive picture of everything that this search query kind of covers as a topic. And what you need to do next is just make sure your content actually fits the search intent as Google answers it. More specifically, how exactly to do that? Change the content type and format to match it. Do you have a how-to page instead of a listicle or a blog article that should be a landing page? This does happen a lot. Maybe the featured snippet is actually an image pack. Maybe you need to optimize your visuals with adequate and relevant and concise alt tags to rank for that page in the visual pack. Another thing that is also very useful is checking the length of the content on the first page of Google. Is your content too long? Is it too short? Edit that to match the search intent. To read through the first pages of Google that gave you all these related subtopics, now is the time to address them in your own content. Add content to cover all these topics. So your page actually provides a better answer than the ones that are already in the SERP.
Can I add one thing here, Anna?
Sure.
As a quick tip in terms of just optimizing around search intent, a lot of you probably notice when you go to search result pages that there are the people also ask box. Usually it's somewhere near the top of the page after the first couple of results. And it's always very tempting to start looking at that and pulling down those drop-down menus. And that activity gives Google a lot of cues and signals about the fuller extent of the searcher's query, the fuller extent of the searcher's intent. And one, I think, quick tip that we can give here is if you can match the outline of your article literally your H2 and your H3 tags, the subtitles, if you can align those and sometimes verbatim match the questions in the people also ask box, then what you're doing is immediately giving Google the best answer to that question when Google spots that you actually have the exact question on your page or your blog post. So I just wanted to throw that in as an example of basically using what's on the search result page, taking those questions and then building your outline around those questions.
Yeah, definitely suggest that too. Again, a very to-do list type of information here. Literally what you need to do, optimize your existing pages. I'm sure you already got that by now. But that is the best thing you can do with your content. If it's not on the first page of Google, but it's almost there, you can take a look in your Search Console data, see the pages that are almost there, but not quite, just need a little push. Take a look at them, take a look at their queries, see the search intent for these queries in Google or using a tool, check the format type, optimize for both the search intent and the queries, and you're gonna get there. Also, obviously, do clean up duplicate content, but also take a look into pages that are actually cannibalizing each other. They are ranking for very similar or the same queries. You have basically pages, multiple pages around the same topic. Each of them tackle a little area of it. They are perfect candidates for merging. You can create one comprehensive page that covers all the questions the persona might have. All those people also ask questions, all those related queries, just cover the whole topic in depth. Instead of having 27 pages on the same topic, have one that answers all the questions. That is a very easy fix for content, especially for content sites that have very many pages from years of content creation. Take a look at pages that you can actually merge together. It can really be a very quick and easy fix. Also, give some love to your evergreen content. We all have those pages that we put a lot of time and resources in. We're hoping that they can be with us forever and keep giving. They get old. They need to probably be updated a little bit. You need to take a look at them again, check the links, check the visuals to see if they're actually in good functioning order, and also maybe refresh it, add some more relevant content as of today, do a separate outreach campaign for them again, and see how they keep giving you back. And then there are those pages that people create. One of our clients has this problem right now, these very catchy pages that many of us hope including is creating, which is the top 5 tools of 2020. They're nice for specific keywords ranking, but then in 2022, they are very, very old and outdated. So we need to always keep an eye out on those pages that are just not true anymore. They're not relevant, they're not helpful. Keep an eye out on them and just fix them up, clean them up, refresh, outreach, get more juice from them. That is the second very interesting topic for us here at Hope. Link architecture. I think it's a great way to actually help content with some little strategy behind it. Link architecture is basically what's keeping your website together, but what it also does is helps users, but also crawlers, to discover pages. On top of that, it actually helps both users and search engines understand what the website is actually about and which pages are more important than others, and spread link equity.
By the way, this concept of link equity, sorry to interrupt.
Sorry.
The concept of link equity is similar. It's connected to the old notion of PageRank, which is that Google assigns a certain authority to all of the pages in its index. And a lot of that authority is based on how many other authoritative pages link to that page. And a lot of people think about link equity as coming mostly from external sites with links pointing to your site, but it's just as powerful and you can be just as impactful in spreading link equity within your site. So moving authority from certain pages and flowing it through links into other pages that you want to boost.
Yeah, that's the gist of it.
Yep.
So yeah, ask yourself, are you doing the best with what you've got? These are all your own links. You can definitely organize them the way that works best for you. That's this is the section.
Oh, okay.
Link.
I got ahead of myself, I guess.
Yeah, again, just a friendly reminder. Sure, you know it. This is why this is important. Links actually help a page. They're basically like a vote of confidence, internal and external links for that page, for Google to see and rank higher. So if a page has a lot of links, internal including, that gives a sign for Google that this page is important, is trustworthy, valuable, and it should be seen and ranked kind of better. So by organizing your internal links, you can help pages that need some added love and make that work for you. So one way of doing this, and this is actually Hop's own website. I just crawled it with Screaming Frog. I suggest you all do that. Crawl it. Screaming Frog has several various visualization options. Whatever crawler you use, pretty much all of them have visualization options. This can give you an idea of how your website is organized right now. Or you can crawl individual pages to see the inbound internal links and the outbound internal links to and from it.
Can I add one point there too about the architecture? In most cases, link authority tends to flow vertically from the top of your site structure down. So oftentimes your homepage is the most authoritative page of your website that contains the most link equity. That flows down into the first level, all those top level pages in your navigation or other pages that are linked from your homepage, and so on down the structure. So what we're talking about here is not so much vertical link architecture, but horizontal link architecture, meaning that linking from a level 3 page to another level 3 page in order to flow the link equity horizontally across the structure. So what we're seeing here is a visualization, really a vertical link flow. What we're talking about is figuring out how to flow that and redirect it horizontally across the structure.
Yep. So when you crawl it, you can discover offer pages, obviously. And then this is where we actually want to guide you to make sure the high-ranking pages are linking to relevant pages that need a boost. This is how they give their link juice to those pages. And also that your important pages for you get many links from other pages. So make sure the important pages get the maximum amount of links. And take a look at your anchor texts while you're at it. Make sure they are actually descriptive of the page you're linking to. They're short, specific, and actually optimized for the page they're linking to. And also useful for the readers. Just show them where you're going to take them if they do follow that link. And that's a favorite topic of mine. And this is also done through, mostly through link building, through link architecture, is the pillar cluster model. I'm not sure how many of you are familiar with it. It's HubSpot's probably 2006 concept. But we've seen some great results with pillar clusters, so I definitely want to share that with you too. Why? Because it really helps you get topic authority instead of trying to rank separate keywords for separate pages with separate keywords. It just gives you areas where you can show your expertise as a content creator, as a website that actually has in-depth, comprehensive resources on these several topic areas. And the way to do this, the easiest way to do it is just by creating this pillar cluster model. It helps the crawlers, it helps the users, and it helps link juice flow easily.
Can I jump in again? So if you're dealing with existing content here, most of the time we see fairly disorganized content because the goal is to publish a piece of content to target one keyword or a set of keywords. But if that's reorganized into this more hub and spoke type of a model, then really when Google crawls that structure and it goes to any one of those cluster pages and it consistently sees links internally pointing into the hub or the pillar page, Then it wants to understand the broader topic of that pillar page, and then it will assign that topical authority to the site as a whole. So by building or by reorganizing your content into pillar cluster modeling, you're actually giving all of the blog post pages, those cluster pages, a greater ability to rank for more keywords because of their association to the pillar page and because of their association to each other.
Yep, it's topics really, it's not keywords, since Google changed a few of its algorithms.
Yeah. Okay.
So this is how basically to do it. You got to start by identifying your main topic areas. What do you want to address? What are your main areas where you will be producing content? Why are they important for you? And then you can review your existing pages and match them to each of the topic areas you wanna possess. Basically, you want to be the authority on Google. And then you can analyze within these topics your pages and see, is there a page that can actually be a pillar page? Is it strong enough? Is the topic broad enough to actually cover a bunch of related subtopics in it? So serve as an umbrella, basically, as a pillar page. If you don't have such a page, by all means create one. You can get kind of out of all the cluster pages that you've assigned to that topic, see their kind of broad topic areas and just amass it into one big page. And this is actually how. On interlinking, which is where pillar clusters are really very strong, make sure you link within the pillar and try not to stray out. It's very tempting sometimes. So basically all the cluster pages should link to the pillar page and give it all that link juice. And it in turn should link back to each of the cluster pages and spread link juice around, just as Paris described a little bit earlier. And by the way, we have a bonus tip here. We were using this really useful tool. It's a WordPress plugin, actually. You can check it out. We'll send the slide deck after the webinar to you. It's called Link Whisperer, and it's a very simple plugin that basically helps you add internal links to any of the content pages on your website. So you can do it in bulk. You can scale this work within minutes. It's really easy and simple to do, and it really helps you link with the right anchor text that is suggesting within the pillar. So give it a shot. And this is actually how we suggest you build a pillar page. Either create it afresh or optimize an existing page. What it has to be in the end, it has to be a pretty long page on a broad topic. And it should answer basically all the questions a person would have. So all those people also ask questions that you see in the SERP. A pillar page should address all of them. So the way to do it is start with the core topic. It has to be one of those really central to your online presence. The trick is it should not also be endlessly broad. Like, for example, digital marketing is not a pillar page. It's a library of pillar pages. So it should be broad enough, but not endless. Content marketing can be, if you're ambitious, could be a pillar page. Link architecture can definitely be a pillar page. So choose a broad topic that you can actually exhaust within a page, even if it's 5,000 words. Keep in mind, it should, in best case, it should be also useful for your persona's user journey. It should be maybe targeting common questions people ask when they're into consideration stage. They're not sure if they want to go forward with your service or product. But it's important for them to just consider all the aspects of whatever your products are. So this can also be very useful as a pillar page. Like, all you need to know about is a classic pillar page as well. As a second step, it's very useful to also help all that kind of C stage content as a pillar page actually help your think and do stage content. So basically link, support by link from the pillar page to your product or category page. This is what we do when we do content strategies here at Hope. We plan the main navigation of a website, and then we plan the main pillar pages on the blog section of the website, and we decide how is the pillar page in the blog going to support the product pages of the website. And then you do a thorough research of the topic, not the keyword yet, just the topic. Again, take a look into search intent, then a classic keyword research of all the related subtopics that you see in the SERP and in the keyword research. And then also assign the cluster pages to that pillar page, map them out if you already have them existing. Just put them in a spreadsheet and then create a page and link from it to the cluster pages and from the cluster pages back to it. And the third easy, simple, and very useful way of doing more with your existing content is Paris's favorite topic, repurposing. We've been doing a lot of this at Hope as well. It's just what you think it's going to be about, recycle old content into new formats. That's actually what we plan to do with this webinar right here. We're going to get a transcript, get a recording, get a transcript, write a blog article out of it. Then we're going to probably create like a video snippet out of it or something. So yeah, we are doing this as we speak. Why? Because it's a great way to get new traffic from old content, and it's so easy to scale. You can do a lot of it with minimum amount of resources. So broadly speaking, there are pretty much two types. It's either text to video, video to text, or long format to short format.
And by the way, one of my favorite approaches here is to have a video first approach. If any of you have existing video, I feel that it's easier to go from video to text rather than from text to video. And definitely it's easier to go from long form content to short form content because you're starting with a larger set of a larger base of content that you can pick and choose from and mix and match.
By no means a comprehensive and exhaustive list, just a bunch of ideas of things that you can do, probably with your backlogs of videos on YouTube or all the content that you probably already have, internal and external. You can do presentations and webinars into blog articles or even white papers or ebooks, articles into videos and vice versa, videos into social media posts and video ads if you cut them shorter and edit them carefully. Explainer posts are great for infographics, for example. If you have some like custom documents, like in our case, it could be an editorial calendar that can be a lead magnet actually, or your own data from your own users that can be a very interesting research paper that you can publish online. Client feedback for case studies, I think that's a classic. I hope you're all doing it.
I'll throw one more idea in here as well, which is one easy way to repurpose. I don't know if this would be called repurposing, but you can just simply ungate your gated content and just release it to Google's crawlers and get it in Google's index. You might release, you might release it as is. If you have a white paper or an in-depth guide that's currently gated for the purpose of lead generation, you can just publish the entire thing, or you might chop that up and get maybe a dozen blog articles out of that piece of content so that you're in a way not ungating it, but just chopping it up and repurposing the bits. So I think that it's generally a good idea to ungate content now because you can still remarket to all those people that get on that content anyway to keep them moving through the funnel.
A simple rule about doing it is be very careful with the content format. A YouTube video is not great on Facebook, usually it's just too long. You gotta cut it, edit it, and just adapt it to the content format you're going for when repurposing. And also a few ideas of very simple and easy tools you can use. They're free or very cheap. I personally use YouTube's auto-generated transcripts all the time. I just copy the text, edit it, and make an article out of it if I have to. Lumen 5 is a simple video tool. You can do blog articles into simple videos with it, or just create your own video from a catalog of pictures and music and animation. Rev is a transcripts tool that is also very useful. Just take a look at these, check them out. If they work for you, I'd be glad. And yeah, $1 million question. It's good to have all these ideas, but what am I supposed to do now? Like, literally, where should I go first? Well, start where you should, where it actually hurts. Focus on your most important pages. Check their performance. Make sure you know what your most important pages are, the ones that are performing. Crawl them for links. You can see the inbound and outbound internal links. Make sure they are enough. Many of them add more. Do the search intent research. This is a great way of optimizing content. Decide on their repurposing potential. Can they grow into a pillar page? Can they become a video? Can they become a webinar idea? Most of the content can be repurposed and probably should be. And then get an editorial calendar. Just write down your list of things that you came up with, all the ideas that you've gathered by now. Just put it in a calendar and stick with it. I guess that's the most important and also not the easiest part of it. So, yep, if you're ready to go, we can start creating content for less.
I'll jump back in now. Thanks a lot, Anna. That was great. We do have an exclusive offer for everyone who's listening, whether live or listening to the replay. And that is that we will optimize one page for you, a blog post, to give you a starting off point so you can see how we approach this. And this is a free offer for everybody registered for the webinar. We'll be sending an email out probably about an hour after this webinar ends. You'll be receiving more details on this offer. So keep a lookout in your inbox for that. All right. That takes us to the end of this presentation. So now we can go back to, I'll go back to the webinar and we'll take a look at the Q&A. Let me stop the screen sharing now. Let's see here. Move disable. Okay. Okay. I think we're back now in full view. Now let's dive into some of your questions. So, oops, let's open that. Let's first take a look at the poll. So the poll question that we posted was, have you optimized an existing piece of content over the past 6 months? 75% of you all listening said yes. 25% said no. So that's great. That actually tells us that most of you out there listening have tried this and are doing this and trying to hopefully get even better at it. That's really encouraging. Okay. We have some questions that are posted in the chat. So let me just take a quick look at those first. Ignacio is asking about the recording, and yes, we are recording this, and you will be getting this recording immediately after we end this webinar, and it will be on demand also after that. Another question from Viduche, sorry if I mispronounced that, is where in the site architecture would you recommend placing pillar pages, and how do we do it while keeping in mind the horizontal link flow? I'm going to let Anna answer that question.
Sure, my pleasure. Well, very often we suggest that we place pillar pages in, if it's usually editorial content, it's usually on your blog website. So as close to the blog homepage as possible. Basically, the homepage can be a list of your pillar pages in the blog. I hope that makes sense. And then as for the second part of the question, the horizontal link flow should be also kept within the pillar. So the pillar page linking to the cluster pages, them linking back, and then all the cluster pages linking to and from each other in a circle would give you all those horizontal links within the pillar, but not between pillars too much, because that would kind of be confusing, would not work for the whole idea of this model. It would be keep them horizontal links within the pillar, cluster page to cluster page to cluster page, all of them also to and from the pillar. I hope that makes sense.
And there's a related question as well. For a typical SaaS company that may not have that many pages, naturally these are not huge websites usually. Roughly how many pillar pages do you think would be appropriate? Not an exact number, but roughly how many pillar pages do you think a SaaS company should be thinking about?
I think pillar pages are not set in stone, although they sound very, very stone-like build structures. They are alive. They change, so they grow with time. A cluster page can become a pillar page later on in life if you editorial calendar, if your goals, if the way your current content is performing shows you that there is potential there for you, it's useful for your audience as well. So they're not, you don't start off with 5 and keep them the same 5 for the rest of your life, of your website's life. I think we've most of the time start with probably 2, 3, or 4 pillar pages. For a small website, I guess 2 are even enough. So you don't have to have tons of pillar pages. You can grow them with time.
Okay. All right. Ignacio again is asking, some SaaS businesses not only face issues with optimizing for SEO, but also deal with low volume searches in their category. Do you still consider in those cases that publishing frequency is just as important as in businesses with larger, more frequent search volume? Why? Great question. I'd like Anna to again take the first crack at this. I might jump in as well.
Sure. Yeah, this is really a great question, and the answer is very much yes. You should not be scared of the search volume, especially for a specific niche, especially for SaaS. If the audience doesn't quite know your product yet or can't describe it yet with the words that you're looking for, this should not be a concern, because the people that are looking for you are also the people who are your closest to being ready to buy from you. So this is nothing to be concerned of at all. It's actually even a greater opportunity because you don't have so much competition with the low search volume. Usually the competition is not that high. So if you build your content presence by publishing regularly and frequently, this is great because it helps your brand awareness, which helps all of your digital marketing efforts. So yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm. I was going to bring up the point about competition because that's a very important point. Businesses with larger, more frequent search volume almost will certainly have stiffer competition. And in some cases, it's even harder to break through if you're going up against some major players that have such internal or even overall links that they're just impossible to overcome. Another point that I want to bring up here is that the search volume that you would see in any of the tools is only part of the picture, because the so-called long tail, the keyword long tail, is invisible. These are the search queries that usually have less than 10 occurrences per month, not to mention the 15 or 20 or so of search queries that have yet to even be searched once, because Google is still to this day reporting that more than 15% of every search query it sees every day is brand new. They're seeing it for the first time. So when you consider the invisible long tail, the actual body of search volume is probably much bigger than you realize. And that's an even greater imperative to build a great pillar page, for example, because if you anticipate the holistic needs of the searcher, you'll be in a great position to scoop up all of those long tail queries that will never really show up in the keyword research tools. Excellent question. Thanks very much for that. Okay. So I think that there are no other questions here. I had a couple of questions on the tip of my tongue that I wanted to also throw in. I will ask Anna one more question. And so we've presented 3 solutions here today. And one of them has to do with really a technical solution. It's about the internal linking and improving site architecture. So that's something fully within your control, but it might also require help from somebody else in the organization, maybe a developer. It might even require some site redesign. To me, that seems like it could be difficult. The other 2 solutions are, to me, it seems like more directly within the content marketer's control, because you can refresh, you can optimize or update a piece of content, you can add some text, you can jazz up the title and meta description, and build some internal links. So the content optimization solution seems more under control of the content marketer, and the repurposing as well. It seems like it's more under control of creative people, but you might need some creative help there too, because not every content marketer is able to produce video. So we have these 3 solutions that have maybe different levels of difficulty. What advice would you give to someone who's trying to decide which of those one they should try to tackle first, if they could only choose one?
That's a tough question, Paris. I think I would suggest that they do. Frankly, I want them to do all. I would personally do all of them. For the link architecture, you can keep it to a specific to one page, so you don't have to necessarily go into website redesign. You can just optimize link flowing to this page that you're optimizing for. But basically, I'd probably do it page by page, starting with the most important pages first. So I'll just choose the best pages that I really want in perfect top shape, and I would optimize them with all these tools, with all these ways. I would do page optimization, and then I would do links, and then I would repurpose it to get traffic through different channels to the same content, because this content is still important to me, and I wanted to kind of get more from it. So yeah, basically I'll do it page by page, starting with the most important ones.
All right, great. Yeah. Some of the things that I think about when I think about this topic, and I even look at our own site analytics data and Search Console data, is that maybe the single thing that I believe has the most return for the least amount of effort is improving the SERP snippet. That's my personal opinion. That means the meta title and the meta description, which is what appears in search results. Because if that is done, especially if you look at the SERP and you see that most of these snippets are really saying the same thing and there's not a lot of differentiation, if you can jazz that up and really make it pop, almost as if you're writing an ad, the click-through rate improvement on that alone, with no other link juice helping it out, with no other addition of content or keyword insertion or anything like that, only a CTR boost will boost the rankings oftentimes. And this sometimes could be the quickest win, because, I mean, even going from position 6 to position 2, for example, for a major page, that by itself could have huge implications for your traffic. That's just my 2 cents on the subject. So I think if you're even want to start by trying to get creative with doing something that seems like something you can tackle quickly, take a look at those page titles and meta descriptions, because I think for years, SEOs and content marketers have approached the SERP snippet in much the same way, which is, I need to get my keyword in the title, and I need to get it again a few times, or variants of it in my meta description, and I'm going to put the pipes or the dashes, and I need the brand. But we're not writing those like we write our ads, and we should be, actually, because we want people to click. And those click signals now are more important than ever in this age of rank brain. So that's something to consider. Okay, I'm waiting here for any other questions, but I don't see any. And I think time is almost up, so we can probably wrap this up now. So thank you, Anna, for a great presentation. This was really informative. Again, we are recording this, and you all are going to have this recording immediately after we stop here. The offer for us to optimize one piece of content for you all is going to be hitting your inboxes in about 1 hour. So look out for that. And otherwise, keep at it. These are tough times, and I think all of us are experiencing limited or less resources than we had before. But don't stop doing content marketing. The mid or longer term sacrifices or pain that you'll suffer by stopping now, it's really not worth it. Do everything you can to keep going with content. There's never been a better time to double down on content, in my opinion. So stick with it. Okay, everybody. Any final words, Anna?
Thank you for being with us.
All right. Thanks, everybody.